Love is alive. What you're seeing right now, I actually filmed back in January of 2024 in Asheville, North Carolina, on a little jaunt I made just before moving back to Los Angeles. I was driving down the street downtown and I stopped, hopped on Trulia, and immediately said, "This is the one." And so I popped into Citizen Vinyl, one of my favorite spots, so I could apply it to this apartment. And of course, in the process, wound up looking at the records. They actually make records there and then sell records. It's a cafe, so I grabbed some hot cocoa, and then I sat down to apply for this place while listening to music. It was just a really great experience. And then later that night, I went out with a couple old friends to this really cool place with a disco ball and great music. I had a really nice chat with the owner, had a glass of wine. It was a special time. Fast forward, and I moved into my dream town of Topanga, the small rural mountain beach town just north of Los Angeles. Well, months after that, though, Hurricane Helene would hit Asheville and many other towns in Western North Carolina, closing Bottle Riot, closing the cafe portion of Citizen Vinyl, and doing way more damage than that. Months later, as you see here in Topanga, well, Palisades Fire hit, and that sent me on my way. And there continues to be a lot of people in really dire situations, both here and there, in between, and in places far, far away. Amidst all of that, there still lies a lot of hope, a lot of opportunities for connection, and a whole lot of love. So today you're joining me back in Asheville on my most recent trip here in 2025. And I have to say, I only had an hour or two to explore. So I took off, but I really didn't get very far. I think I walked about a block and a half before I stumbled across some artists, some vendors set up on the sidewalk, and started talking to this one man and got into a most interesting, deep, and meaningful conversation that just really hit the spot.
Hi.
What's your name?
I'm Mark DeFranca, and
Lisa, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, I run the Mist Path Sanctuary out in Asheville, North Carolina. I was in a wheelchair, and I had problems from the time I was 22 to 42. I had mobility issues, and I was told I would never walk, properly again, or be without the aid of a wheelchair. So I'm 59 years old. I'm running a ranch. I'm riding horses. And that's something I couldn't do at 49 or 29 or 39. For my whole life, was eaten up with drug addiction, physical ailments, poverty, codependent relationships, abusive relationships, and through it all I heard was, no, you can't. You can't beat the drug addiction. You'll never get out of the wheelchair. You'll never be able to ride a horse or anything like that. Don't be ridiculous. And personally, when somebody says to me, you can't, I say, watch me. Because the reality is, yes, there is a structural truth to everything that you're considering. And it would be foolish to ignore the structural truth. But the reality is that everything in life is completely possible if you don't quit. So what did they used to, they said to me, oh, you'll never walk properly again. Well, for decades, that was the truth. But I didn't quit. And as I said, I will, and I am.
And now?
And here I am. And the thing is, to be able to ride horses, the doctors look at my back, and at the back of it looks like a cone. It's just, arthritis and scar tissue all at the bottom. And they go, I'm not, how do you even do it? There's more to it than just what people, what the structure dictates. Sure, structure is important. I'm a huge fan of structure. But Structure can be leveraged. And the thing is, if you say no, you're never looking for the ways to leverage the structure. But if you believe that there's a way around something, you're always looking for a way to leverage the structure that exists. And that's where you find the ways to beat the odds. I've beaten the odds over and over and over again in my life. And it's because I absolutely won't quit and I won't take no for an answer. It's just very simple. There's a solution in there somewhere. And if I don't stop looking for it, I'll find it. My pet program right now is I'm trying to get off the ground is trying to get the minis to into a program where you can bring them to the local nursing homes and celebrate.
These little guys right here in your picture.
Yeah. To the nursing homes. When I was a kid, my parents used to go, and the first Wednesday of every month, would go to the nursing homes in my town. We had a very small town, but 5 nursing homes.
Is that a town in North Carolina?
No, it was actually just outside of Boston. And they'd take a cake and a box of carnations to every nursing home, and they'd celebrate everybody's birthday. I thought, gee, I'd love to do that again, to do that with the horses. So we're working on doing this. It's all donation based. Right now, we are not trying to take anything from the community because the community has nothing to give. So, everybody here, everybody is struggling. And has been for 8 months. So rather than try and, make money where there is no, we're service-based and values-based. And, and one of our values is to, spread the resources we have around encouraging things to grow. And to me, I always say that, resources are like manure. They're no good unless they're spreading and encouraging things to grow. So that's what we do. We spread around our resources as best we can. If somebody decides to give us something in the process, then we'll gladly take it. But in reality, we're just here trying to do the best we can with our resources to encourage the well-being of other people.
I'm really glad I met you today. Came across here. I grew up in Winston-Salem, but I've been out in California and actually had to evacuate from the Palisades fire in Topanga. And luckily my place did not burn down. I mean, I moved out. It's still I know. It's still a thing. So it's interesting, but both areas have really been through the ringer.
People think that Helene was a hurricane, and of course it was a hurricane. But when it came through here, it created a geological event. We had already had a storm that was parked over us for a couple of days. Helene came in and merged with that storm, and it dropped, in some cases, 36 inches of water. The water, the wind, and the mountains worked together to create a geological event. So we didn't just have a hurricane, we had 1,400 landslides. We lost 6,000 roads. We lost over 1 million trees, which are now creating, forest fire potential problems with forest fires. And we're, and people don't understand, but this is a geological event. The ground is unstable. We just had an earthquake over the weekend, 4.1. I think the people of Asheville are being amazingly resilient and doing everything that they can to stay open and stay positive.
Well, I've been here for I think less than 24 hours so far, so I haven't spent too much time. But I appreciate how you describe things as recognizing all the destruction and the struggle that is very real and honoring that, but then also saying there's still a lot of wonderful people, of course, and wonderful things here. I mean, we went out to Chai Pani last night. Super yummy. That had been recommended, and my friend had been there, and it was festive, and the food was excellent. And it's you do see places that have closed, but a lot of places are open. We went to Owl Bakery this morning and got little pastries, and walking around downtown. It's super charming. Going to the other neighborhoods, all the beautiful homes, the architecture. It's a very, Biltmore is open. There are hiking trails you can still hike on. There's tons of So there's a lot there are a lot of reasons to come. There are a lot of Airbnbs, etc., that are still open, and hotels, ready. So, and then here it's just like I just stumbled upon this little outdoor market thing going on. So, yes, there are definitely lots of reasons to come to Asheville right now, and or to potentially move here. And like I said, it's been only more and more people have been moving here, and the tourism just continues to be a thing, which has driven up the cost here a bit, quite a bit actually. But I don't see that going away. Like,
Actually, I started life over again at 42. Everything that I've accomplished at this point, I've accomplished in the last 15, 16, 17 years. So, and before that, no money in the bank, no, horses. How do I have horses? I was a junkie. How do I have horses? But anything is possible when you know what you want and you're not willing to quit on getting it. And I have done things that people have said are impossible, and I watch people do the impossible all the time. I became a coach 15 years ago, and I watch people break the rules and beat the odds. So I would say, rather than thinking about what you can't do, I would think about everything that I absolutely want. Then I'd say, and how willing am I to work to have this? And I'm not talking about working hard. I'm talking about how willing am I to commit to that. If I commit to having it, then actually the ways to get it show up really, really easily because you're watching for it. But if you tell yourself it can't happen, what are you watching for? More proof that it can't happen.
I'm so glad. I said this earlier, but I'm so glad that I met you today. And I've just been I was literally, I don't know if people can still see it, but I was moved to tears when you were talking. And anyways, thank you for your words today. Okay, can you tell me what you were saying about your favorite book as a kid?
Yeah, I was saying that my parents kind of trained me, I guess not unintentionally, but my favorite book as a kid was The Little Engine That Could. And I carried it with me everywhere. I forced my sister to read it to me 100 times a day. And, I never really thought much about how it stayed with me or if it had even stayed with me until I started working on having the life that I wanted. And then I realized that as long as I don't quit, I'm going to get up that hill and I'm going to get the things that I want. And so that's how I came back from all the addictions and all of the poverty and the pain, and the health problems and everything else. It was simply by determining that I want it and I'm not going to quit. And that means I don't get impatient and give up. And I don't, get into my thoughts and feelings and want to quit. When I want to quit, I just push forward because I know that if I don't quit, I'm going to succeed. Sooner or later, I'm going to succeed.
You make this channel possible by clicking on the membership tab to become a member, or by clicking on that cute little heart-shaped thank you button. And when you like and you share this episode with others. And your thoughtful comments, personal stories, and the history you share here is such an important part of this series. Thank you for being a part of this community, and I will see you very soon.